Hey guys, well, it's Monday. It's time for Huddle. So welcome back, Huddle Time with Ronit. I'm so excited to be here. How you guys are doing? And yeah, you're here. How was your weekend? I hope you had a great weekend. We're coming to you a little bit different this time. This time we're not live. We're going to do something a little bit different. My friend here wanted to do something different, so we're doing something different. Um, we will talk why. I still don't know 100% why. Maybe because he just wants to look really beautiful at all time, and I should edit a few pieces and Photoshop some stuff. I don't know, but we're here with you again. Thank you for all joining me on Huddle Time with Ronit. Each week we come together with such an amazing and special guest to bring you inspiration, business successes, motivations, right to your screen, right to where you are. And why? Because we want to help. We want to share. We want to kind of share with you, what does it take to be really successful in your career? What do you need to do in order to achieve the goals that you want to achieve? Actually, maybe makes you think, what do you really want out of this incredible life? And how do you do it in the beauty industry? So we bring from all over, outside the industry, inside the industry, we bring you experts that will share with you. And of course, if there's anything that we can do or touch base on, please let me know at Ronit's Coaching. As you can see, my handle is right there, Ronit's Coaching on IG, or you can get me right here on Facebook. Come follow me on my website and on my blog. And today with America's Beauty Show, we are hosting my very good friend, really close friend. His name is Frank Falco, and he is the CEO of Cosmetologists of Chicago. Welcome, Frank, to the show.
Ronit, thank you so much, and it's such a pleasure to be here. And I just want to start off by saying thank you for hosting Huddle Time with Ronit through COVID-19. You've done this for all the viewers out there. Ronit has done this out of the generosity of her own heart, and we really appreciate your leadership and rallying everyone and sharing your knowledge with not only our guests but yourself with our members. So thank you so much, Ronit. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Frank. That's awesome. I love being here. This has been such a great treat in so many levels. I guess the best part of it was to just learn from so many incredible people, keeping the morale going. And sometimes it kept me getting out of bed during our tough times at 4 o'clock in the morning, when you said to yourself, oh, what am I going to do today? Oh, Huddle Time with Ronit. That's what I'm going to do today. So
it's made a difference. I mean, this is just truly an unprecedented time. And, how do you plan for a global pandemic? And how do you plan for a global pandemic in which none of us have been through it before? None of the leaders, none of us individually. So it's really taken efforts from folks like yourself and other volunteers that have really come together to try to rally our industry and really provide hope and inspiration to all of us. So again, I'm gonna keep praising you. So thank you again.
Thanks, Frank. It's okay. Thank you. Frank, you've
Yes.
had, let's introduce you to our friends here. While we do that, you and I have been friends for many years. We had a little break in between, and we just came together exactly a year ago. But I want everybody to introduce who you are. You've been in the industry for 30 years now. You're 45 years old, so that means you started when you were 50.
I was 15, right? Yeah. I wish I was 45. In fact, I wish I felt like I was 45, but I'm not 45. Let's see. I got started in the industry back in the early 90s, like 1990, and I got started with a company called Helene Curtis. And they make quantum perms at the time. And they made a lot of other great products like Suave and Finesse and Salon Selectives. And I had the good fortune of getting started there. And it was in Chicago. It was a Chicago-based company. It was just a great legacy. And I felt so honored to be there. And from there, that's where my beauty career got started. So I started in the warehouse, Ronit. I was a forklift supervisor. And we picked orders. we shipped the product, and it was just a great experience. I had a chance to work with a lot of great people, and just from there, that's where my career just kept going. So it's been a great run, and I've always tried to not forget um, what I've learned along the way from others, and that's probably made the biggest difference in my career along the way. I've had some great colleagues, great role models, great customers, and just the true spirit of the beauty industry has just been something that's it's been the foundation of everything that I've learned. You know, I had one mentor, Chuck Cooper, who was the COO of Salon Cadence. He said to me, he said, Frank, he says, I'm going to give you some great advice about the beauty industry. He says, this is what you have to do. You got to take your job very, very, very seriously. You got to be a professional at all times. You got to have integrity. He says, but you cannot take yourself seriously. And that's something that's just tried to stuck with me. And you know, along the ways and trying to work real hard, you got to be able to laugh and enjoy it because it's a people business. So that's
Yeah.
a quick synopsis.
And I like that. I mean, you're skipping a lot of in between in your career because you have a pretty amazing career. You've sat in as an executive role in a few companies. I'd love for you to talk about that because I think it's so important for people to know your background and why you have such a diversity in your knowledge. You've seen this industry in so many different sites. So I'd love to get some insight. So come on, bring it on.
All right. Okay. So here's what I'll say. I've had the good fortune of sitting in boardrooms. I've had the good fortune of sitting in the back rooms of salons and in the warehouses of many distributors. So most recently, I was a senior executive with Sally Beauty Company. I ran Armstrong McCall, which is a division of Sally Beauty Company. And then I've held other positions throughout Cosmetologists as group vice president of sales, vice president of sales. Worked for Zotos as a director of sales. And then again, I worked at Salon Cadence. And then along the way, I've done a couple startups in there. We had the first online appointment software for salons. It's everywhere now, but back in 1999, it was a really innovative product, and our company was called Salon 123. So I did a startup with that, and then most recently, also I sit on the board for a company that specializes in products that help women with hair loss, New Concepts Hair Goods. Yeah. And then I have my position as the CEO of Cosmetologists Chicago and America's Beauty Show, and it's truly an honor to be able to continue to serve throughout our industry. So it's been good. I've had a lot of great experience. There's a lot of miles here, a lot of cars I've been in, and just a lot of great people that I've been able to work with. So I feel very fortunate.
Yeah, and it's great because we're very fortunate to have you as the CEO of
Thank
Chicago.
You.
Yeah, let's go inside. Let's get some meat going on here.
Okay.
You know, you weathered 4 storms in the industry. I think there has been some, I would say, economics and other storms that affected our beauty industry, affected our people economics, and this is a people industry. So in your life, I'm thinking if you can think about and reflect on those 4 crises, economic crises that we experienced, this one is different. We talked about it, you and I, about how different it is. How do you see it different than the other crisis that we had?
Yeah, I mean, COVID-19, this global pandemic, it really is different. And the reason why it's different is because I'm going to say this again. This is a very fundamental point. No one has been through something like this before. So this is a big issue, meaning that each one of us is dealing with it a little bit differently. Leaders are trying to work their way through it, and they've never been through it before. So this is really a big issue that's going to have, it's going to complicate things. Doesn't mean we're not going to get through it. Doesn't mean that, we're not going to find economic prosperity. No, I think all that stuff is going to happen. We're going to come out of it fine. But it complicates things because when you break it down, each person, each individual is going through it from a different perspective. And what I want you to think about it is, I want you to think about it like this. I think if you're in like a big stadium, and there's 100,000 people there. You're at a University of Texas football game, or you're at a University of Michigan football game, and you're sitting in the stadium, and there's 100,000 people there, and you're all watching the same game. You're all looking down at the field. Each seat has a little bit of a different view of what's happening.
Right.
And that's COVID-19, because we're all going through it together,
Mm-hmm.
but we're all sitting in different seats.
Mm-hmm.
And it affects each person a little bit differently. Maybe some people are scared.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some people are scared about their own life. Maybe some people are scared about their family or their other people's lives. Maybe some people are going through economic hardship, their business, personal finances. Everybody's going through it, but everybody's going through it with a little bit of a different perspective. Mm-hmm. And that's what complicates this. So that's what makes this so much different. Your clients are going through it differently, and you're going through it differently than everybody else. So
yeah,
it just complicates things.
It is definitely a different ball game, even from the other economics that we had, because, whenever we had some sort of a crisis, and we had a few of them during our career, and you would think about it, and that it never really affected the beauty industry. In fact, on the last 2008 and 2001, we flourished in these crises. It wasn't just the strong will survive. We all not only survived, we made it really pretty good in those times. I mean,
I believe the beauty industry will do that again. It's just going to be
a little different. Yeah.
Yeah. And, just to comment on that, Ronit, when you think about us coming through this and us coming out of it, I mean, this is the first time that our industry was completely shut down. I mean, salons were closed. $52 billion worth of business stopped. So stopped. And so it was different. And I have to tell you, coming out of this right now, outside of your own home, I can't think of a safer place to be at than a hair salon. Now that's a big statement. So outside of your home, I can't think of a safer place to be than a hair salon. Why is that? Because right now the protocols that we're all adopting is that you cannot get a salon service unless you're wearing a mask. The number one thing the number one barrier that we all have to manage is the mask. So if you're in a salon, you have to wear a mask. The salons have to pass all the sanitation guidelines. Salons are implementing protocols regarding temperature checks, cleaning in between services, exercising social distancing, whether it's in the lobby area or when people come in. And this is fantastic. Mm-hmm. If you go to a grocery store, those same disciplines aren't there.
Nope.
If you go to a restaurant, those same disciplines aren't there. If you go to a school,
you go to the airport,
not there.
That doesn't exist.
Right. So when you think about it, given the disciplines and the protocols that we've put in place in salons, and you have to wear a mask in order to get a service, the salon is probably next to your home, probably the safest place you're going to be at through COVID-19. So if we can continue to get that message out, and we can continue to share all the good work that we're doing with the public, people want to go back to a salon. People want to get their hair done. They might not go to a restaurant, but if their roots need to be touched up, they're going to find a way to get there. If they need to get their nails done, they're going to find a way to get there, because it makes everyone feel better.
But it's a different consumer now. Now we're talking about a different consumer. This consumer has been sitting down for 3 to 4 months, and I want to touch base on that because I know you have quite of an insight. For a while there, and give me a second before
I jump in.
Yeah, you jump in, but because I'll jump right back. Because here's the thing. The thing is, we talked about from being a really great hairdresser, have an amazing. Then we said, okay, customer service has to elevate. Walt Disney are the experts of customer service. And then it's like, okay, it's all about experience. Let's have a great experience. So we all shooting for a great experience. Okay, let's wow our customer. We all wow in a customer. What is it different now? How are we going to wow the customer in a different way, because our consumer has changed?
Okay, I'm going to go back to the stadium where we're all sitting in the same stadium and we're just sitting in different seats and we're looking at the same thing.
I love that.
Here's what I want everyone to think about. When you have a big problem, like we're facing a big problem with COVID-19. We're looking at our customer counts, we're looking at everything, and we're saying, oh my God, this is a big problem. When you have a big problem, you have to think small. And when you have a small problem, you have to think big. So what do I mean by that? We've got a big issue here that we're dealing with COVID-19. And how is this going to affect our customer experience, our client experience? I'd really like to challenge all of us to break it down a little bit further. When you think about your client experience, you're going to have to, all of us are going to have to think about it down to the individual. Like, we're going to have to think small. So, I come into a salon, okay? Like, my stylist needs to know like what I'm about personally, so that my experience is very personal. So maybe she's going to spend, or he's going to spend a little more time cleaning the chair so that I see that, because they know that I'm more concerned about the cleanliness of the experience. I'm not worried about the haircut. I'm not worried about paying. I'm worried about the cleanliness. And let's say maybe somebody else comes in and they're going to have to really, really think about each customer as an individual. Because remember, COVID-19 has affected everybody, but it's affected everybody just a little different, just like that different seat in the stadium. So what it's going to put the burden on, it's going to put the burden on us as the service provider to really think small and think about each individual uniquely. And in that experience, that client experience will continue to flourish, and that client experience will resonate with other people.
Yeah.
So, we're all looking for like the big broad brushstroke. Like, we need to all do this. We need to all do that. We need to all do this. And in less complicated times, those we need to all do this initiatives could be broader in less complicated times. In very complicated times, we may have to think like, we need to all be very focused on each individual and help each individual in what is most unique to them to have the experience that they're looking for. And, it's not what we do, it's how we do what we do. And the great news is that, in the beauty industry, we're masters at understanding people and how people feel. So it's just using our intuition and bringing that to life.
Well, let's think about it a little bit even more specific, like in being an individual. We have different type of salons out there. We have solo salons, we have suite salons, we have team salons, we have booth renters, we have stylists that are educators, we have a lot of beauty different professionals. And we need to grow. We need to grow. You know that if we stay compliant, no matter what we do, we're going to fall. Business is about growth. If we stay in one place, if we maintain what we've done before and apply it again, we stay in the same place. So talking about that experience, the individual, I love that, because I actually spoke to another person the other day, Leon Alexander from Eurico Design.
Sure.
It's the experience of the individual experience within the community, because, right? Are you getting where I'm going with this? We need a community. We need to thrive as together, but yet it's more customized now. It's a higher, more sophisticated consumer.
The word is the word that's being used commonly now is personalized. Everyone is looking for experiences that are more personalized to them. Look at how many things are monogrammed now. I mean, everybody wants to have things that are more personalized to them. So that's what I'm really getting at, is when we think about the services, and you think about COVID-19 and you think about how it's affecting everyone differently. Our work is going to be, how do we personalize the service to each person so that their experience really meets their needs. And again, it's beyond the technical component. It's
Yeah,
probably more around how that person feels.
absolutely.
Mhm.
That's the one.
Okay,
And
you're going to ask a question though. You're going with something. Where were you going with that?
well, I'm going with that. No, you came with a really good answer. You came with personalization.
Hmm.
And I love what you're saying, personalization when it comes to monogram towels and everything. Yes, I love that. I would love for the people out there to challenge all of them. How can you personalize your client's experience? For example, can you pick a specific music that that person really like? Can you customize that? Can you customize their shopping experience? Can you personalize it even more? And maybe we can throw this, Frank, to everybody. How can you personalize this? And how can you personalize treatments for your staff? Because they need that too. They're the other consumer.
Yeah, yeah. I think the personalization process is takes on many different levels. Let's just talk price of entry and meaning like making people feel secure. Again, I'm going to go back to we're now like in COVID, a COVID environment. So in the back of everyone's mind, whether they say it or not, everyone is thinking about COVID to some degree. It's just we're all dealing with it. We're surrounded by it. Every
Yeah.
time we open up our phone, it's just surrounded by it. So we have to always be thinking about that. So in a COVID environment, the first thing regarding personalization is what is that person going through? And how do we make sure that they feel secure in our environment when they're with us? So I'll give you an example. One of my friends is a cancer survivor, and she's also a licensed cosmetologist. And one of her clients refused to wear a mask, and she said, "You know what? I appreciate that. I totally respect your position on this, but I'm a cancer survivor, and I cannot afford to take that risk." And you know what the client said? No problem. Put the mask on. All's good. So why am I sharing that example with you? Because in each of our experiences with our clients, when we really dig deep and we understand like how we have to help them through this whole COVID situation, they may have elderly parents and they're more sensitive to the experience of making sure that everything's sanitary. So we're going to have to do that. And then when we get to the experience for the client themselves, just through the services, that's where we get into more of like the softer
Yeah.
side of things,
Yeah.
like the towels, the fragrances, the music, the express checkout, what have you. And we get to the things that were more just pampering and really just thoughtful, loving, nurturing aspects of the appointment. So
Absolutely.
two different levels, like the price of entry level, the secure thing, feeling, and then the above and beyond my expectations of you really pampering me and thinking about me.
Yeah. Well, I think that you got that one right. We talked about the
I
challenges.
got it right?
You got it right.
You got it right? I got it right? Okay, good.
uh, we talked about last time, you and I were talking about, you kind of drove me to the point where I'm like, okay, let me tell you what it is. And I, used my favorite word over there, but I'm not going to use it here.
No, don't use it here.
But we talked about, what are the challenges now that people are reopening, staying open. What are we seeing in the industry is our next challenge that's coming with the return. I mean, we can't predict the future, but we know this is going to be here for quite some time. I mean, we're unrealistic if we don't.
Right.
But what do you hear? I mean, among my peers, right? Because I sit down with many, many salon owners, and we work with a lot of salon owners, but with stylists as well. And we're listening. What are the challenges right now? And you hear it as well. What do you think the three biggest challenges? And here's why I'm asking you.
It's okay. Don't tell me why yet. I'll just tell you what I think the three biggest challenges.
Go for it.
We'll see if it ties together. The first one that we hear consistently is it's about your team. It's about your coworkers first. your coworkers and your team, they have to feel secure that your environment is as safe as it can be, as um, thoughtful as it can be about their health. That's the first and biggest concern. It's not, do the clients want to come back to the salon, but do the coworkers, does everyone feel secure in the salon environment, that it's as safe as it can be for themselves and obviously, what they bring home to their families. So that's the first one. The second biggest concern is, after the team is on board and everybody's feeling good about it, the second biggest concern is we just have to stay in the game.
Yeah.
And what do I mean? What do I mean by that? We have to
Mm-hmm.
just
Mm-hmm.
keep working.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And
Yeah.
why do I break it? Why am I breaking it down to that? The beauty industry, as beautiful as it is, has lived through world wars,
Yeah.
lived through the Spanish flu, lived through many, many challenges throughout life. And it has always existed because people need it. It's essential.
Mm-hmm.
Our industry is essential. So, as each one of us, we just have to keep going and keep working. What the answers are and what the final outcomes will be and how things will finally shake out, that's a journey. That's not a destination. It's just a journey. So we have to just stay in the game and keep working. And uh, what does that look like? How does that lead to the third challenge? The third challenge is we have to conserve our cash. And what do I mean by that? We have to invest in our businesses. We have to continue to keep investing in our businesses. We have to invest in education. We have to invest in the tools that we need to drive our business to make sure that we have a good client experience. But outside of that, we also have to be very thoughtful in how we conserve our cash in this whole situation.
Yeah.
Because when you go back to the three things, we have to make sure our team feels safe and feels secure. We have to just keep going, and then we have to conserve our cash but invest in our business. Those three things, when you put them together, it's about staying in the game long enough to work our way through this. Because history has shown time and time again that the beauty industry is essential and it will survive, and we will keep going. It
Yeah.
might look a little different, 10 yards down the road than where it is today. But if we just stay in the game, keep serving with a genuine spirit to help others, and we can just keep going, we'll work our way through it.
I like to talk it even deeper into what do you mean by keep working? I mean, what do you mean by keep working? Keep working like what? Keep grinding? Keep coming to work? I mean, let's talk about it, because if we were grinding before, we're really grinding now for less production. I mean, can we bring some smartness into this? Smart.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
We can bring some smartness in. There's a book out there that everybody should get. I can't think of the name of the author because I'm older. Even though Ronit, you said I'm 45. I wish I was 45. It's called A Spark and Grind. A Spark and Grind. Ronit, maybe you can Google that while I kind of talk.
I'll put it in our links. What is it?
Yeah.
Spark and Grind?
A Spark and Grind.
Okay.
Okay. You need both. So, historically, we've just grounded through it. That's what I'm talking about. Keep working. We've got to grind through it. And
Yeah.
we got to just keep going. We got to keep working. But in that grinding, to your point, Ronit, it's not just about doing the same thing we've always done and just grind it out, just grind it out. We might just grind ourselves right into the ground or grind ourselves out of business. Okay. You have to have a spark with that grind. And what the spark means is the spark represents creativity. Like how am I going to do what I do maybe differently because the environment's changed, and then I'm going to then grind it out, work through it, and get really, 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 really good at it so that it makes a difference. And that's essentially what this book captures: is that in today's environment, you need creativity, and then you need the uncompromising discipline to grind through it and the courage just to keep going and grind through it. And then you create another spark, another creative solution, and then you grind through it.
And I
And
love
for
when you
us,
say that. I love when you say that you need creative solution. You need to
yes,
be resourceful. And I agree with you on the cash flow part of it, because I think that was three brilliant points. You got to
thank you.
go back. You got to work. You got to get back and work. You had a couple of months of thinking and reflecting and getting stronger and more motivated, but you got to go back and work, and you got to be smart about your grind. So it's about discipline. And I just look up the book. It's The Spark and the Grind, Ignite the Power of Discipline and Creativity. That
Yeah.
is brilliant, by Eric Wall.
Okay.
So tell me about that more. Being innovative and being resourceful. Like, in what way today
Yeah.
we need to be resourceful and innovative?
Oh, here I'm going to speak about Cosmetologists Chicago. I'll speak about ourselves and what we're working on, because we're like everybody else. I mean, we're going through this in a big way. Cosmetologists Chicago has been around 100
Yeah.
years, and there have been so many great people that have been members over the years. We have folks that have been members for over 40 years,
Yeah.
and it's just a wonderful, loving association group of people. I can't say it without smiling, because our biggest challenge right now is hugging people. We want to hug people when we see people, because that's like the culture of our association.
Yes.
And with social distancing, it's a challenge. But Cosmetology Chicago has been around 100 years, and 97 of those years, they've produced America's Beauty Show. And this year, the first time in 97 years, we had to cancel the show.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was a very emotional time. I mean, this is an event that's been a part of people's lives for decades,
I bet it was
and
easy
yeah,
to cancel. I
yeah,
mean, you could
it,
postpone it, but you didn't.
yeah. We had to do, what we had to do, because obviously we had a public safety issue.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing too. We're a nonprofit,
Yeah.
so what we make, we put back into the association. So now we have a fiscal problem. We've got a financial issue
Yeah.
because we canceled this beauty show. So we have to spark, and then we have to grind and do
Absolutely.
things differently. So the team, and we've got a great team of people that are so committed to
Absolutely.
serving all licensed beauty professionals. And we got a great group of volunteers. Ronit, thank you
Yeah.
again. Okay. And we had to come together, some of us not making money at all, just volunteering, okay, to come together and figure out how we're going to do what we're going to do differently now that we have this COVID-19 and this, we can't get people together for education on first Mondays. We can't get large groups of people together to go to another beauty show. These are two major things that we had that were ways in which we could serve our community in a way that was very meaningful. And, what are we going to do differently, and how are we going to reinvent ourselves quickly? So we're fortunate in that we were able to come together and pool our resources, pool our collective thoughts, and reach out to our community and get help from other people that were very thoughtful, and get help from those that have excellent creative thinking to come up with a plan to help reinvent Cosmetologists Chicago and America's Beauty Show. So, we're moving into the digital space. And we're not only moving into the digital space because it's now mandatory because of COVID-19,
Yeah.
but we want to move into the digital space in a way that truly serves the needs of licensed beauty professionals. Not we just want to get into digital education, because there's enough digital education out there done extremely well by so many great artists. Okay. We want to get into digital education in a way that is meaningful to our membership base and to our industry. So we're going to be getting into digital education. We're going to be creating a marketplace at which members can then go, and there's a curated selection of products that are there to help serve their needs. We're going to look at our membership and our membership benefits. The number one thing that we're going to be adding, healthcare. We've worked with Mercer, and now members of Cosmetologists Chicago can get Blue Cross Blue Shield healthcare, which is the number one healthcare insurance in the Midwest. So
amazing. It's so needed more than anything.
Yeah.
I think even people today so discount what we need, and health insurance, especially now, is more than ever. So that's wonderful.
But I'm bringing this up because we had to change.
Yeah.
That we've had many discussions about, we need to do this, we need to do that. But because COVID, right, wrong, or indifferent, sometimes the mother of the mother of creativity or intervention is necessity. We've had to do things differently. So we need the spark. And we had to reach out and go to our community like yourself, Ronit, and we had to ask for help to help us get that spark so that we can create the plan. And now we have to grind it out like everybody else and just work our way through it and try to conserve funds and grind it out and do the right thing. And in the end, we believe that we're going to be in a great position for another 100 years at Cosmetologists Chicago and America's
Well,
Beauty
Frank,
Shop.
I think that you said it really profoundly. We have to think differently. We have to bring something different to the table. You have to adapt, and you are, and bring something that the people really need. Like really speak to what they need. So, how can what salons need to do right now to spark? If you could have come up with 3 things that could help them spark ideas and get into the new routine of these ideas, what would be the 3 things you would suggest for them to invest time and money? Because we have to invest both. So
right. No, I mean, our most precious resource is time. Our second most precious resource is money. So, clearly you can never get time back. Money, you can hopefully, if you do things great, you can make more money and you can make it back. So time's your most precious commodity. So thinking about that, the first thing that I think we can all do, it starts right here, is listen. I mean, it sounds so fundamental, but the first thing we need to do is listen. The first one is listen to your team. Like, get with your team, find out what's really bothering them, and find out where they're at through this whole process. Because if you can understand where they're really at, psychologically and mentally, emotionally, financially, then you can nurture them through this.
Yes.
Because you need them in order to get to where you want to go. Without your team, you might as well just be by yourself and cut hair. So like you need your team. So the first thing is listen and really get your arms around each person individually. Go back to that personalization and understand where they're at so you can nurture them to where they need to be. Second one is listen to your clients. And that might be digitally listen to them. What do I mean by that? Go through your customer list. Don't not mentally, print it out and go through, get the pen, okay, and go through your customer list person by person.
Absolutely.
That discipline, it sounds so basic and so fundamental, but that discipline, by going through it, you will write things down that you will not have thought of if you just, like, you're driving, you're thinking, okay, I got Mary, she's my best customer. Frank, he's okay. No, you got to literally go through the discipline of writing it down. And by writing it down, you will identify patterns. I've got a group of customers that need this. I got a group of customers that need a little bit more of this. I got a group of customers that need a little bit of everything. And they might be too expensive for me to handle right now.
Yeah.
So I'm going to focus in on these 2 groups of customers over here and really trying to get them back into the salon. So
that's a very good point, Frank. I love that. I love that you got to go through. And if you have 2,000 customers and it's a lot, divide and conquer with your team. Come up with the personalization of how to connect with them, how to become in front of them. That's profound. That's really important. So we talked about listen. We talked about listen to your client.
Team. First
Team.
your team,
Yeah.
understand where they are because you got to nurture them to where you
Yeah.
want to go, and then listen to your clients.
Yeah.
And it starts with first digitally listening to them, and then you go and you talk to them.
Yeah. We talk about when we speak of listening to your team. This is something Frank and I do on a regular basis, and I'd love to share that with our audience here. We ask a lot of questions. We ask good questions, and we ask each other a lot of good questions, and we listen. And when you listen, idea comes, a spark comes, and then start working with that idea. And if you do it with somebody else, not by yourself, whether it's with your team, whether it's with your coach, whether it's your mentor, when you ask question, really specific question, there's some amazing, amazing answers.
I'll give an example of that. So at Cosmetologists Chicago, we want to serve all licensed beauty professionals, all. And we went and we met with a great school owner in Chicago, Larry Roberts, Barber College.
Yeah.
Larry had brought his team in. We had a great meeting. We came in and we wanted to listen and understand how we can best serve Larry and the entire community in Chicago. And Larry's colleague, Douglas, came up with a brilliant idea through our collaboration and our discussion. It was a spark. And that spark we're going to take and we're going to try to, modify it to where it's something that's sustainable, scalable, and repeatable. And then we want to grind it out and really do something different and make a difference. And Ronit, the listening discipline helps create sparks.
Absolutely.
Because there's a lot of really smart people out there.
Yeah.
But when good people come together, great things happen. But you got to be willing to come together and you got to listen. And it's there. It's all the sparks that we all need. We have them. Like they're all there. We have to tap into them by taking that first step and listening.
Yeah. Joe Felno, who is a major league barber, he said something on our last Huddle Time with Ronit. He said something really great, and it's exactly to what you speaking of, Frank. He said, it's the people you surround with you. You surround around you. Don't surround yourself with people that are not sparking ideas or don't have a great support on your ideas. So what's nice about the Cosmetology of Chicago, it's a community. It's a basic community. I mean, even just come collectively, find your people and get resourceful with the people, get a lot of great ideas and find a community as a salon owner, as a beautician. If you're in this alone and you feel alone, it's very difficult war to win. So
I mean, life's a team sport, and the beauty industry is no exception. I mean, this is a team sport for us because, I mean, you think about your own salon, you think about your community that you've built with your clients. It's a team, it's a family, and it's really important to reach out and listen. Ronit, I want to comment on one thing too. When we're talking about listening and surrounding yourself with people, I think it's very, very, very important. Can I say very one more time?
Please.
Very important. Okay.
Yeah.
To one more time. To surround yourself with people that think differently than you.
Yes.
Okay. Now, where you have to be aligned is on your values. So you don't want to surround yourself with people that, let's say you're honest and you're on dishonest people. No, you don't have time for that. So you've got to be aligned in your values. So as long as you're aligned in your values and you're working, your heart and your intent is to go in the same direction. You want to surround yourself with people that maybe have the same values, but think differently than you.
Yeah.
That's how you really, really get those good sparks that you can then take. You can then take and grind it out. And so you don't need a bunch of yes people around you that think like you do. You need people that value the same thing you do, but they think differently. And they can say, hey, you know what? I hear what you're saying, but I don't agree with you.
Exactly.
I think it's this versus that. And with that comes good conversation, good dialogue, collaboration, and you get something better than what you could do yourself.
Wow.
You get collective thinking.
I think that's a big discovery, guys. I wasn't thinking like that. I always think about, you got to surround yourself with people that are smarter than you, right? Because I could always motivate you to become better. You got to surround yourself with people that, that are positive or even that are not downers, that they support you and they love you. But to have the same value, before that, you need to know where your values are. I think I think we as entrepreneurs, as small business owners, no matter what business owners, and what the small business size, should we tell them what a small business size is in the eyes of the SBA?
Go ahead.
It's anything from $15 million revenue and lower, right? So can you imagine how many small businesses we have in the United States?
A
Millions.
lot. A lot.
So surrounding yourself and understanding what are your values, what are your own values, is so important, because based on them, you have the right friendships, the right staff, the right clients, the ideal staff, the ideal clients, is like knowing exactly what's important to you.
In a professional environment, I could tell you what I look for.
Yeah.
Here they go. Ready?
Yeah.
Open and honest. You have to be open and honest. Don't lie, don't cheat. Just be open and honest. If we're in a meeting, say what's on your mind. Don't not say what's on your mind and then go talk about it. So you got to be open and honest. Number two, you got to be accountable. Do what you say you're going to do. And if you can't do it, it's okay. Just say, hey, I didn't get to it. But if you're going to do it, you do it. So open and honest, accountable. The third one is professional. Again, it goes back to taking your work very, very seriously, but don't take yourself seriously. So you've got to really try to get better every day. You got to try to do your best. You got to always try to be improving. Nobody is perfect. Nobody. So if you're professional, you're always trying to get better every day. And the fourth, have fun.
Yeah.
Have fun. I mean, this is life. I mean, who wants to be around anybody that's miserable?
Yeah.
I mean, we all have bad days, but have fun. So try to enjoy your life, and those are like four very simple values that, we look for when we're trying to build a culture of a team. Is that, you got to be open and honest. You got to be professional. You got to be accountable, and let's try to have fun and, enjoy what we're doing, because life's a journey. It's not a destination.
I think conversation on values, I'd like to have it separate, just you and I doing it, a whole different show on that, because there's so many things I can interrupt right here. Like, for example, I'm going to ask you, what's honest mean? I mean, if somebody is not honest, that there's a problem right there. And we're talking about a noun. I'd like to have an action value. Like, what does honest actually means, right? And I know you.
Okay, so I'll tell you what honest is. You're gonna laugh at me.
So give me an example.
Honest. I'll give you an example. Honest is when you call me on like Thursday at like 3:00, and I say, Ronit, no, we're not. We're not talking. You're not gonna try to pick at my mind right now. I'm done for today. I gotta just decompress. That's being honest.
Yeah.
And you know what you say? Okay, honey, I got it. You're right. Okay, and then boom, we pick right back up in the morning when everybody's fresh, and we're onto it. So honest, can mean so many different things, but basically at the end of the day, you're being true to yourself. You're being true to yourself, and you're being true to those that you interact with.
Yeah.
So
I love that. That was we were exhausted on that day.
We were
exhausted that day. It wasn't a good day to just like start picking up brains. But
I mean, there's been a lot of time that salons have been closed because of COVID-19. But I could tell you, everyone that I've talked to is working harder now than they ever have.
Yeah.
Even though the businesses have been closed, even though people have been, asked to be in their homes, people are working harder. At least we all feel like we're working harder
Yeah.
because just to get this done requires so much more effort
Energy.
and
Energy.
energy,
Yeah.
mental, emotional,
Yeah.
physical energy. So that's why I keep coming back to like how we started this discussion
Yeah.
when you talked about what's different about COVID.
Yeah.
COVID has affected everyone differently and is affecting everyone differently. And that's what makes it more complicated. Doesn't mean we're not going to get through it. Doesn't mean, life isn't going to be great. Life will be great. We will get through it, but it's just going to be a journey that each person's at from a little bit of a different perspective. And we
Yeah.
just have to keep working our way through it.
And if I can offer everybody out there who's listening to us today, I want to offer a really great way of how to conserve energy and utilize your energy right. And this is a great tip because we're all going to be up and down many times, but we do need to have a resource of energy. So if you get up every day and you write down 3 things that you want to accomplish today, just 3. Don't go into a to-do list. Take that to-do list and throw that shit away. Just ask 3 things that you want to accomplish today. That's the number one thing that I'm offering. The second thing is write a goal list, not to do, a goal list for the whole week, And make sure that at the end of that goal list, there is the why. Why do you want to achieve that this week? That's really important because if there is no why, you just might be lost in the middle of it. And so that's the second thing. And the third thing is that I want to offer you guys is do something that you really love. Do something that you really love every day. Not a hobby, not work, something that makes you very happy. And if you do that on a constant level, there's a lot more time that you feel happy or happier than the day before. So if you practice those 3 things, I assure you, you're going to get a lot more done, more efficiently, and be much happier. So I do this every day.
It's a discipline. It really is.
Yeah, it is a discipline.
I try to do it every day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because it makes a difference. It really does. Again, we go back to that whole spark and grind thing. If you're grinding it out, you'll get a spark, and then it just keeps going, keeps going.
Yeah, discipline is a good thing. So that's great. Well, couple of things before we close our session. We got 5 minutes left. You see how it goes really quick? We talked about books, you and I, very often. We both love our books. What is the number one book that you feel that right now is a really good read for everyone?
Well, first of all, there are so many great books I can put on this list, but I'm going to talk about two.
Okay.
Two. One is The Art of Engagement. For my colleagues that have worked with me in the past, they know what that book's all about. But it's written by Jim Howden. He's a consultant out of Toledo, Ohio. But what he does is he basically uses, for lack of better terms, he uses pictures to tell a story and align teams. And when you do that exercise that we talked earlier about listening to your staff and understanding where they're at, you might want to think about capturing that in a picture, okay? Because it helps people identify that you've really listened to them and they see themselves in an illustration or something that represents them. And they know that you've really internalized it. So
Yeah.
The Art of Engagement's a good book. But the second book, or really the first book that I think everybody should read, which is a very easy read, is Switch by Chip Heath. And Chip is a scholar at the University of Stanford.
Great book.
He writes this book about change, and it has a very simple model in there for change. And he talks about this whole concept of bright spots. And bright spots, if you want to make an analogy, it could be a spark, but bright spots are simple things that we can all do that make a big difference and change. And when you think about bright spots, you say, okay, well, why aren't I doing that? So I'll give you an example of a bright spot. Example of a bright spot is, well, how do you live a healthier life? Eat right, get 8 hours of sleep, exercise, journal, stretch every day, go to
Mhm.
church.
Mhm.
Okay. I mean, that's a lot. That's hard. We know what we have to do, right? But why aren't we all doing that? Why are we drinking, eating fast food? I mean, I do this. I mean, okay, like why are we not doing what we know works? Those are all bright spots,
Why
right?
is it?
So why is it? What keeps you from it? Well, there's two things that keep you from it. And it's called, they use an analogy of the rider and the elephant, which is, the rider is intellectually, you're like, well, I need to know more. Yes, that's very logical. I could see why I should eat better to have a healthier life. Okay. And then what might keep you from that is the elephant, which is emotion. I'm stressed right now over COVID-19, and I know I should be eating carrot sticks, but you know what? I'm not going to do that because I don't feel good right now. So instead, I'm going to go over here and eat some ice cream. Okay, I'm using that as an analogy, but
Yeah.
this book, what's great about it is it makes it very simple. And this whole model of the rider and the elephant, we can all start to internalize and ask ourselves, when we know the right thing to do
Yeah.
and we choose not to do it, what's holding us back? Is it that we don't have the resources or we don't understand?
Mhm.
Or is it because emotionally uh, we're holding ourselves back? And right now, we have to be kind to ourselves. COVID-19 is real. We're all dealing with this global pandemic. Every person on this planet is dealing with it, and it's complicated our environment. So when we think about the rider and the elephant, and we think about the changes that we have to make, and we think about where we need to go, along the way, we need to be kind to ourselves and say, okay, let me step back. What's going on right now with me? What do I need to do? And what's holding me back? And if we are kind to ourselves and we have this framework, is it that I don't understand, or is it that emotionally I'm paralyzed right now, like I can't move, and we can work ourselves through the changes that we need to get to where we want to go. And that's where we come back to we've just got to stay in the game and work our way through it. The beauty industry will continue on forever,
Forever.
and we as a community, as long as we keep nurturing and helping each other out and being kind to ourselves, we'll work our way through it and we'll get to where we want to go. So I would get Switch because I think it's a great book and I think it's so relevant
It's an
today and the
awesome
changes
book.
that we need to make.
Yeah, and it takes, in order to make any kind of a change in a life, it takes, they say it takes 2 weeks to start getting into a habit. It takes 21 days to actually keep the habit, and 90 days to make it a whole new life for yourself. So we're talking about 90 days. So 90 days, what can we do to change? You know, and I think listen and ask good questions, and keep grinding, and
Find that spark when you're listening, collaborate, ask for help, you find that spark and then you grind. We got to just grind this thing out.
yeah, yeah. And you know what, guys? We're going to continue bringing to you some incredible speakers from the industry, outside the industry, tools. What can you actually use as a resources? We're going to talk about money. We're going to talk about technology. We've got so many great people, right, Frank, coming, and so many great new innovations within Cosmetology of Chicago, within
Yeah.
ABS show. There's just so much coming up. So just keep grinding, but spark. There's so many great new ideas. Keep going. Come listen to us every Monday. And Frank, I think you and I need to do more of these. This is going to be good. You're so good.
Well,
You're so good.
Alyssa, I have to tell you, I'm so fortunate to have this opportunity to serve licensed beauty professionals. I've done it my whole career, and I love the beauty industry. I love the people I do it with. I love who I do it for, and I just think it's a great place. I think we all just got to hang in there.
Quick little story. When Bill and I, which is my husband, before we did this, we've learned how to raise a salon, how to grow a salon, and one of our greatest profound experiences is we took a class with Neil Dukoff, incubator.
Yeah.
And I think it was my second incubator. So he came to the second incubator and he was listening to all these unbelievable salon owners. And then he said, this is what he said, and this is no lie. He said, the energy and the passion that salon owners and the people in this industry have is enough to love the whole world. And ever since then, he is a fan of our industry. So, yeah.
We are essential.
We are. Yeah, exactly. And so we're going nowhere. We're coming stronger than ever. So thanks, Frank, for sharing your passion, your love, your knowledge. I can't wait to have you here again. Mm-hmm. Bye, everybody. I'll see you next week. All right.